So here's my problem, I think. The bottom has like a 1-inch hole on the turbo. The bottom of the turbo has a 3/4 to a 1-inch hole for oil to pass through. Then it narrows itself down to like a 1/2-inch tubing inside. And I welded this fitting on here, which didn't restrict it, but then I threaded this hose in there, which is crazy restrictive. It's like probably less than half the size, the diameter of the inside of that hose. So I think what I did there is slow the oil flow down too much. Over here on this side of the block, if you look down in there, I took the stock fuel pump off the side of the block there, and there was a big hole, so I covered it with a plate. I'm gonna take that plate off now and weld a tube to it, bringing in the oil from the turbo. So then I'll have a return for each turbo, and hopefully that'll stop the leak. So basically what I think I'm dealing with is an oil traffic jam in that line, and I needed to find a big hole to stick my hose in. If I pull this plate off, yeah, now that's the big hole I was looking for. And look at that, I even used the stock gasket there. Smart thinking. Looks like it might have even worked. All right, you are the hole I've been looking for, little lady. All right, quick search in the scrap pile, I found this. This will work quite nicely. Just have to clean it up right here. Cut it here. Weld this one to the plate. And then make a piece to come down from the turbo. It might work. I don't know what I'm cooking in there, but it smells good. I'm gonna bolt the plate back up with the hole in it, new and improved plate. Then I'm gonna put my pipe on here and mark a line to give me the right angle for my stub to stick up. So there's my hole. That'll be the entrance way for the oil going into the block. That should work nice. And if I take my pipe and stick it through here, I think it'll work something like that. I have to figure out the right route to run it through all this snaked up hoses and wires. It doesn't matter how it gets there as long as it gets to the right spot. We'll give it a little twist. And there we can see that my pipe doesn't fit between my bolts. Good job, Jimmy Durr. You're a real winner. Look at this for the right spot. There we are. How's that look? That looks wonderful. I should have done that in the beginning, and then I would have avoided everything I'm going to have to do now to right my wrong. Might as well make a new plate at this point. Let me just make sure that hole goes all the way to the bottom, and I think it does. Left hand. I don't usually rely on you to do the hard work around here. Okay, what if I draw with my left hand? I might be able to do that. It's hard to say. So, I mean, that's pretty well down on the line. All right, stay there. Right hand, I'm gonna count on you to hold that. You've been a good hand. Now, where'd my chalk go? There it is. Now I just take my chalk and draw a line here. And I match those two up when I weld it. And of course, there it is. All right, pull it off and weld it together. That's my soldering iron there. I put that underneath because it's copper, so I can fix that hole by just welding to the copper, and then when I'm done, I'll pull it off because the weld won't actually weld to copper. Like that. You got a flat bottom. Clean it up a little bit, but it shouldn't leak. I get a little carried away. I'm gonna have to smooth it out around them holes so the bolts sit flush. Yeah, that looks nice. There we go. That puts it right in position there. I think it's gonna work out real good. All right, here's my new and improved lower line. It starts out as the Caterpillar 1/2-inch tubing. It was big enough for cat, so it should be big enough still, hopefully, but I've done the best I could to think bigger, and I necked it up to 1 inch. So hopefully, and it's all downhill from here, hopefully oil won't get backed up. We won't have any traffic jams. Come on. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. If I have to, I'll take this hose back off and put a bend in it, but I don't think I have to. A little kink in it as I put it on, but I don't think there'll be a kink at all once it's on there. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I'm not happy with that, so I'm going to put a bend in it now. And give me a little more leverage. There we go. Let's go a little further. I don't know about you, but I think that might work. All right, it is now new and improved and ready to install. That looks like it'll work to me. Let's crinkle it up and push it on. There we go. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Push, push, push. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Push, push, push. Much better. New, improved, without the kinks. Now what we've got here is the stock Caterpillar hose going into a very large rubber hose into a large metal pipe down around the little corner, but angled down into a nice big hole in the side of the engine block. So the general idea is no more traffic jams for my oil exiting the turbo. Will it work? I have no idea. Now it's time to do a little wizardry and try and figure out how I'm gonna get one hose transformed into two. Here's what I've got. I've got a single hose coming up with oil dropping into my cat turbo, and I need to now then figure out how to drop oil into that turbo at the same time. All right. There was a plug here on top of the oil filter for another line. It was plugged off, so I got an adapter here so I can neck it up to my line to go to the stock turbo. Big oil return from the big turbo, fixed the oil leak. Very good. It was a nice fireworks show in the beginning. I'm not sure if that's because I cleaned out that wheel in the bottom, or if it is because... Not sure if it's because I cleaned out that wheel on the exhaust side, or if it's because of all the oil that was built up in there. Either way, it was fun. Hi. Well, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I need to just keep trying to get the transmission to take more fluid. Maybe the converter. I mean, if you remember when I filled the converter initially, I put like 7 quarts of oil in it. I don't know. It's definitely like the converter's not locking up. You put it in gear, I can feel it's in gear, but it won't go anywhere. I don't know. All right. I just kept putting transmission fluid in until it started spewing out the overflow on top. Getting in the truck throughout that process and just going in and out of gears, revving it up, trying to get it to move a little bit, trying to get the converter to take the fluid back in that for some reason the converter somehow emptied itself out, it kind of felt like. Anyway, I finally got it going in the reverse. Next thing to do is drive it out of the barn and see what happens. You might want to watch this. Nice. Okay, so now I can see that my temperature gauge actually works. 160 degrees. It's fine. That's without the fan hooked up yet. Running for 5 minutes, beating on it a little bit back and forth, and it's up to 160. That sounds just fine. My turbo doesn't leak oil anymore. That's nice. But for whatever reason, the transmission just isn't right. It seems like the converter's still low on fluid. So, I mean, I think it's still overflowing with fluid. So I'm gonna put a dipstick in it again and see what's going on.